Your ex hasn't entirely moved on, but they're going to seem like they are. And after doing thousands of these like consultations and sessions with people, I'll give you some tips that will really help you kind of understand their mindset. This all really comes down to sort of like a big psychology game. Now, I know people don't like that. They don't like the idea that like love is like they always say to me, it's not a game. It's not a game. Like, obviously, right? We don't want it to be a game, but you have to almost treat it like one when somebody wants to walk away from you. Okay? What it's really about is attraction at the end of the day. Not physical, because that's already been determined, right? There are people who are going to be physically attracted to you and not. It's about emotional attraction at the end of the day, right? And when somebody doesn't feel good being around you, or they don't have optimism about the relationship, they're going to create distance every time. So it's not that they've moved on. I get this question a lot, like, how could they have just moved on so quickly? I see that all the time. It's not that they moved on. They are creating distance so that they can reevaluate how they feel about you and how they feel about the relationship. Because when somebody is hit with a constant feeling, a constant emotion, negativity, imagine it like a cup or a bucket. When it gets too full and overflows, it trips and needs to be emptied, or a circuit breaker. When it trips, they need space to reevaluate and to turn the electricity back on and not freak out. They don't want your energy interfering with that anymore. So it's not that they've moved on. They have just created that distance from you. So what you need to do is work on the relationship issues, regardless if they come back around or not. Do no contact, of course. Rise up in this chart. This chart comes from the book Letting Go by David Hawkins. David Hawkins created, this isn't the exact version. This is the version, but this is a modified version of it. This will help you because usually people are stuck in this red zone and you want to get up to this green blue zone. And anybody that does coaching with me, I send this chart to you completely free. It's part of the coaching. And the idea is when you work on yourself and you work on the communication problems, etc., you're going to rise up that chart. They text you or reach out to you when you've got to that part. Why? Because on a spiritual level, there's something called the law of divine oneness. We're all connected. That's why karma exists. If you do bad shit to people, that's why bad shit will happen to you, okay? Because literally you're hurting yourself. We're all part of the same consciousness. So when you're down here in this section, they are up here if they broke up with you about you and about the relationship. They're neutral about you and they're courageous to go off on their own without you. So you're down here in this desire and fear and grief section. So what happens is as soon as you start letting go of the relationship and the need for it, you start inevitably climbing this chart, going up from the red. I know it's hard to see the words and shit, just look at the colors. Going from this red to this green zone. Naturally, this happens anyway, as soon as you start letting go of a relationship. That's why they come back after 4 to 6 months a lot of the time. Now, what I want you to do is when you can start using the techniques, releasing and stuff like that, you can speed up the healing process because you can work on whatever is causing you to be an emotional issue, right? Whatever's causing you distress, whatever baggage you're holding onto. When you work on all those things, because again, there's a reason why they left you, or there's a reason why the relationship isn't going in the right direction. When you focus on those problems and you focus on getting rid of them and you focus on creating new habits, new ways of thinking, etc., then in doing that, your relationship will get better. A relationship is a byproduct of the two people involved. So it's not that they're over you and going out with somebody else right away. They want to go where they are getting reciprocative energy. They want to go where good energy is. And sometimes they, and not even sometimes, this is all the time, they create this idea of being single and they become attached to that idea. It becomes a dream. So they're going to see that through, and then that's why they have the relief stages first, right? The relief stages first and the curiosity comes second. That curious stage is where they will get nostalgic about the relationship and about you. And that's when this will start to climb, because they'll start coming down actually, because they're going to get fearful of losing you. Okay. Now they're not going to stay down forever, because they know that that's not a good place to be, but there will be a nice little window. And then when that gap closes, because you rise and they come down a little bit, I just totally punched my mic. If they'll come down a little bit on this chart and you go up the chart, you guys will kind of meet, and that's kind of how this all works in a nutshell, in a very simple way. Okay. So again, if you guys need help or coaching, let me know.